Just confirm me, am I audible to you? Just confirm me, am I audible and the PPT is visible?
Recording in progress.
Okay, fine. See, in today's class, we are going to discuss about a nervous system. Okay. See, what are all the component which is present in the nervous system? One is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just continue. Today's class is going to deal with the nervous system, and we have two components of nervous system, that is central nervous system and a peripheral nervous system, right? And what is the what are all the subcomponents present in the central nervous system? Means a brain and the spinal cord. Okay, and what is the function of CNS? See, they are the one to integrate and process the sensory information. If somebody touches you, that information has to be reached the brain. Okay, and that is done by the central nervous system. And initiation of response, if somebody touch you, definitely you are going to give a response. Okay, that is what an initiation of response, and that will be done by the central nervous system. And that sensory information has to reach, that stimulus has to reach the central nervous system. Okay, and that will be taken by, that stimulus will be taken to the central nervous system with the help of a neurons. Right, now what are the components present in the brain? We have a cerebrum, cerebellum, and brain stem. Okay, and what are all the functions performed by the brain? Cognitive functions, and the cognitive functions is related to the neurons, that is brain. Okay, and balance and coordination, regulation of autonomic functions. Now here the cerebrum will be converted into many lobes. And what are all their lobes? Frontal lobes, parietal lobes, temporal lobes, and occipital lobes. And cerebellum will be involved in the balance. Brain stem will be control of vital functions, including the heart rate and the breathing rate. Okay, and spinal cord, and what are all the subcomponents present in the spinal cord? Cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae, sacral vertebrae. And what are their functions performed by the spinal cord will be the reflex actions. And see, the neural signals between the brain and the body, that has been transmitted with the help of the spinal cord. Here, that will consist of a white matter and the gray matter. Okay, what is the white matter? We are particularly denoting the axon, and the gray matter will be related to the cell bodies. And this spinal cord is enclosed within the vertebral column. Right, now, and what is peripheral nervous system? What are all the subcomponents present in the peripheral nervous system? Is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. And see, this peripheral nervous system which connect the CNS to the limbs and the other organs. See, this is the one which relay the information to and from the central nervous system. Okay, see, if somebody touches you, this is the hand of yours. If somebody touches you, that stimulus has to reach the brain. Okay, to the CNS, and the response will be given to that particular stimulus. That will be done by the peripheral nervous system with the help of a somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Okay, see, here they will composed of a lot and lots of nerves and ganglia. And here it is not protected by the bone, unlike the CNS. In case of a central nervous system, it will be protected by the bone. And peripheral nervous system, there will be no protective covering for this particular nervous system. And we have two components of peripheral nervous system. One is somatic nervous and autonomic nervous system. See, here we can have afferent nerve fibers, efferent nerve fibers. See, this afferent nerve fibers will be the sensory nervous, and motor nervous will be the efferent nerve fiber. See here, what is the function of this afferent and efferent? Okay, as I said before, if somebody touches you, that signal has to reach the brain, and that will be done by the afferent nerves. And the reaction, the stimulus will, the response to given that particular stimulus will be done by the motor neurons. Okay, particularly that is called as the efferent nerve fibers. Okay, see here, that will be involved in the movement of voluntary control of body movements, and also transmission of sensory information to the CNS. That will be done by the somatic nervous system. Here, the somatic nervous system transmit the information from the sensory receptors. Okay, only then, see, if somebody touches you, there will be a receptors to receive the signal. Only then it will reach the brain. So sensory receptors play, only because of this receptors we are react to that particular stimulus. And motor nerves control the skeleton muscles. Okay, now in autonomic nervous system we have two subcomponents. One is sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And what is the function performed by this ANS? Means involuntary control of body functions. See, this somatic nervous system will be controlling the voluntary control, and this autonomic nervous system, they are controlling the involuntary actions. And particularly they are regulating the glands, smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. See, pumping of heart, contracting and relaxation of heart, it is an involuntary action, and that will be controlled by autonomic nervous system. This point we have discussed in the circulatory system also. Now you can relate to that particular point. Now, see, sympathetic division prepares the body for fight or flight, and parasympathetic division promotes a rest and digest. This is what a division. This is what a function performed by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. See, what are all the subcomponents present in the sympathetic nervous system? Means preganglionic neurons and post-ganglionic neurons. Like in the same way, parasympathetic nervous system also have a preganglionic neurons and post-ganglionic neurons. And what is the function for this done by this sympathetic nervous system? Means they are increasing the heart rate and dilates the pupil, okay, within the eye, and mobilizes the energy stores. Okay, they are using the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. See, sympathetic body divisions prepares the body for flight or fright. Okay, this adrenaline, particularly the norepinephrine, will be completely under the control of sympathetic nervous system, and it is activated in the stressful conditions. This can be asked in the question. Okay, and which nervous system will be activated in the stressful conditions and which will be activated in the restful states? See, even if the body has to take rest, that will be controlling under the nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, even the see, if a body work on the stressful condition, means there has to be the reason. Definitely it has to be under the control of nervous system. But even though if you want to take rest, that also under the control of a nervous system, particularly the parasympathetic nervous system. And also you should know that this parasympathetic nervous system will be the subcomponent of autonomic nervous system. Right, now what is enteric nervous system? See, just remember this word always. The word enteric refers to intestine. Now what are all the subcomponents present in the enteric nervous system? Means myenteric plexus and submucosal plexus. And what are the functions of this particular nervous system? Is they are the one controlling the gastrointestinal function. Okay, and they are regulating the digestion, okay, independently of central nervous system. Right, now see, it often considers a part of a autonomic nervous system. So you should know that not only the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system will be the component of ANS, this enteric nervous system will also be considered as a part of an autonomic nervous system, and it also have neurons as the spinal cord. Right, now what are all the, see, these are all the thing which is related to the neurons. What is neuron? Neuron is the cell which is present in the nervous system. Okay, and what is the name of the cell present in the kidney? What will be the specialized cells present in the kidney? Or else we can ask what will be the functional unit of the kidney? That will be the nephron. Then what will be the specialized cell present in liver? What will be the specialized cell present in the liver? Hepatocytes, hepatic cells. Very good. See, what are all the components which is present in the neuron? Cell body, dendrites, axon, and axon terminals. Now, what is cell body? See, in cell body, we have a neuron, nucleus, and the cytoplasm. Okay, the nucleus and cytoplasm is present within the cell body, which is a part of a neuron. Okay, and what is the function of this particular cell body? They are the one maintaining the cell and its metabolic functions. Okay, and now see, as it contains the nucleus, definitely it has to control over the neuron, right? Now, what is dendrites? It is a branch-like structures. This is the one which is receiving the signals. Now, this one neuron will be connected with the other neuron with the help of this dendrites. And we know that neurons will be conducting the electrical signal. So, if someone touches you, definitely there has to be the neuron, and the neuron which is the structure which is receiving the signal means obviously the dendrites. That one dendrites will be connected to the other neuron with the help of the dendrites of that particular neuron. Like that, through this dendrites, the information has to be reaches to the brain. This has been done within a microsecond. Okay. Now, what is axon? Here, a long slender projection. This is the one conducting the electrical signals away from the cell, away from the cell body to the neurons or the muscles. Okay, now axon terminals. Okay, now what is the axon terminal means? This is the end part of the axon. See, this is the area where the neuron is releasing the neurotransmitter into the synapse. See, what is neurotransmitter, what is synapse will be discussed in the upcoming slide. Okay, now see, this is the neurotransmitter which is connected to the, which is this axon is the one releasing the neurotransmitter, and this neurotransmitter is released into the synapse, and through this it communicates with the other neurons. And what is myelin sheath? See, this is the fatty layer which insulates the axon. This is the covering which covers the axon, myelin sheath. Okay, what is the purpose of having this myelin sheath? Means this is the shape which increases the speed of the nerve impulse transmission. Okay, see how the information has been reaches to the brain within a microsecond. That will be because of the myelin sheath, because it is the one increasing the speed of the nerve impulse. And what is nodes of Ranvier? See, the gap between the myelin sheath, it is called as the nodes of Ranvier. And what is the function of this nodes of Ranvier means? This is the one where action potentials are regenerated during the conduction along the axon. Okay, so this is the important structure present in the neurons. Okay, so we have a different types of neurons, and that will be a sensory neuron, motor neuron, and interneuron. What is sensory neuron? This is the neuron which is particularly dealing with the transmission of sensory information from the sensory receptors to the CNS. Okay, so sensory neurons is the one transmitting the sensory information to the central nervous system, that is brain. And motor neurons. See, now what is the function of motor neurons? See, the information has to reach the CNS, and it has been reached. Now, the signals from the central nervous system, which means what? The response from the central nervous system to the effector organs, that will be conducted by the motor neuron. See, if someone touches you, that has to be taken to the brain, that will be done by the sensory neurons, and the reaction has to be reaches to that particular area, that will be done by the motor neurons particularly. We are calling that particular area as a effector organs, where we can feel the response. Now, what is interneurons? See, this is the neurons which connect the CNS, that is central nervous system, and integrate sensory and the motor information. So all these neurons has been connected with the help of the interneurons, right? Now, what is synapse? Say, synapse is nothing but a junction between the two neurons. Okay, see, from one neurons, definitely if someone touches our hand, definitely there will be a neuron, and that signal has to conduct it to the other neuron. And that how it has been happened, there will be a gap between the two neurons, and the junction between the two neurons, we are calling them as a synapse, right? Now where the information is transmitted from one neuron to the next. Now what is synaptic cleft? See here, we have a presynaptic neuron and a postsynaptic neuron. If you find the picture, it will be very easy for you to understand what is the presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron. See, one neuron has to connect it with the other neuron, and one neuron has a presynaptic neuron and one has the postsynaptic neuron. And the gap between these two neurons, where the neurotransmitter are getting released, that particular area will be the synaptic cleft. Now, what is neurotransmitters? That is nothing but a chemical. Okay, that is a chemical messengers. This is the one transmit the signals across the synapse. See, what are all the examples for the neurotransmitters? Acetylcholine, dopamine, and serotonin. Not only this, all the hormones, we can call them as a neurotransmitter. Now, what is action potential? See, what is action potential means? That will be an electrical signal generated by the ions. When ions are moving, they are generating a signal, particularly an electrical signal across the neuron membrane. Okay, propagating along the axon. When it done, the ions are moving, it is generating an electrical signal. That signal is said to be as the action potential. Now, what is a resting potential? Here, the electric charge difference across the neuronal membrane at rest. Okay, and now what is the potential? That is resting potential is it around minus 70 millivolt. Now, what is depolarization? A decrease in the membrane potential. Now it becomes a less negative during the initiation of action potential. See, when the electrical signal, action potential means what? That during the movement of the ion, it generating an electrical signal. At that particular point, the membrane potential is getting decreased. Okay. Now, what is the charge of this particular depolarization? When a depolarization occurs, it becomes less negative. Okay. Now, what is repolarization? See, this value are very important. Kindly make a note of it. Now, what is repolarization? Repolarization in what? Restoration of the membrane potential. Now, it is get back to the resting state after the depolarization. Okay, now what is hyperpolarization? Increase in the membrane potential. Now it becomes more negative. You should not think that hyperpolarization means it becomes more positive. See, in case of a depolarization, it becomes less negative, which means what? High positive. And in case of repolarization, it regains its original state. That is, after depolarization, it regains the restoration of the membrane potential. And hyperpolarization means an increasing in the membrane potential. Now the interior area becomes more negative. Okay. Now it is the state followed by following an action potential. Now, what is a refractory period? See, the period after an action potential during which the neuron is unable to fire again immediately. If the action potential has been generated, right, if an electrical signal generated, that is an action potential, and during after a period of this action potential, the neuron cannot start immediately, and that period is called as the refractory period. Now, what is plasticity? The ability of a neurons to change in form and function in response due to the external environment, that is called as the plasticity. Okay. Now, neurogenesis. Neurogenesis means what? Always the word genesis related to the synthesis. The process of generating a new neurons, which occurs in the cell brain regions like the hippocampus. This is the area where we can find the synthesis of a new neurons. Now, my question is how the cell division is happening in case of neurons, whether it will be very fast like the other area, or it will be a little bit difference when it comes to the nervous system. What is the state of cell division, whether it occurs rapidly or whether it occurs, whether it will be a difference. It shows some of a difference when it comes to the nervous system. See, you should know that. See, if a person if he or she get any damage in the other area, it can recover fast. But in case if there is any damage in the heart, if there is any damage in the brain, he or she can't be recovered soon because of the cell division. Okay, so this will be a difference, right? So kindly you have to give a special importance regarding the cell division, particularly in the heart and the brain, right? Now, what are all the disease and disorder related to this particular nervous system is Alzheimer disease, Parkinson's disease, a multiple sclerosis, and epilepsy. Among all these disease, which disease is related to autoimmune disease? Among Alzheimer disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, we have a among this, which is considered to be an autoimmune disease. That will be obviously a multiple sclerosis, right? Okay. Okay. It is about time, so we'll solve some of the questions. Okay, we'll finish it. Now, what are all the chemical messengers we are having? Chemical messengers is the one transmitter. See, this is related to the neurotransmitter. Okay, now they are the chemical messengers. They are the one transmitting the signals across the synapse from one neuron to the another neuron, muscle or gland. Okay, so we have different types of neurotransmitter: excitatory, inhibitory, and modulatory. Okay, so what is excitatory neurotransmitter? Here, increase the likelihood of firing action potential in the postsynaptic neuron. Now, that is what an excitatory neurotransmitter. The example for this particular neurotransmitter will be glutamate and the acetylcholine. Anyhow, acetylcholine glutamate is all related to the neurotransmitter only, but particularly which type of neurotransmitter, that is excitatory. Here, increase the likelihood of firing action potential. Here, the action potential will be generated very fast, higher, right? In inhibitory neurotransmitter, they are decreasing the likelihood of firing action potential in the postsynaptic neuron. For example, gamma, GABA and glycine. These are related to the inhibitory neurotransmitter. Now, what is modulatory neurotransmitter? Here, they can influence many neurons and modulate diverse brain functions. For example, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. Particularly, the hormones can be coming under the modulatory neurotransmitter. And what are all the receptors? We have ionotropic receptor and metabotropic receptor. See, the most important thing when it comes to the receptor, what are all the channels we are saying as the ionotropic receptor? That is a ligand gated ion channel. In these particular receptor, when the ligand here refers to ions, hormones. Okay, what are all the signal? We can say like that signal, when it attached to the receptor, only then it will getting activated. So what ligand gated ion channel, this produce the fast synaptic response. This is ligand gated ion channel will be coming under the ionotropic receptor. And in metabotropic receptor, G protein coupled receptor, that is GPCR, that is the one produce slower but longer lasting effects. So these are all the type of the receptor. See, these are all the neurotransmitter: glutamate, that is excitatory neurotransmitter; GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, that is inhibitory neurotransmitter; acetylcholine. They are involved in the muscle activation, learning, and memory, the most important neurotransmitter. And dopamine. Dopamine, it is the one responsible for reward, motivation, and motor control. This is the one. If it is a dysregulation, if it is not function correctly, it is linked to the Parkinson's and schizophrenia. Okay, these are all the nervous disorder. And serotonin, this is the most important hormone. It will relate to the sleep. Okay, and it will be activated when only when the lights are off, right? Now, this is the if this particular hormone dysregulate, it is linked to the depression and anxiety. Okay, because of loss of sleep. And norepinephrine. This is we know that involved in arousal and alertness. And if it is not function properly, it related to the mood disorders. And glycine is particularly a inhibitory neurotransmitter, and you should not think this glycine is just an optically inactive amino acid. It also considered as a neurotransmitter, particularly in the spinal cord and the brainstem. Okay. Now, what are all the synapse? This is the flowchart related to the synapse. And what is the synapse? We know that junction between the two neurons, which we are calling them as the synapse. And we have two different types of synapse, chemical and electrical synapse. In chemical signals, neurotransmitters. Release of neurotransmitters from the presynaptic to the postsynaptic neuron through the synaptic cleft. Now, what is electrical synapse? Direct physical connection between the neurons via the gap junctions. Gap junctions allowing the gap junction is the one. It is the junction which connects one cell between two cells from one cytoplasm of the cell to the another cytoplasm of the cell. This is the junction which connects the two cytoplasm of the cell, right? And this is the one allowing ions to pass directly from one cell to the another cell. Among these two synapses, chemical and electrical synapse, which is very effective. Chemical synapse and electrical synapse, when we compare these two synapses, which is very effective. Obviously, that will be electrical synapse, right? Yeah, always the electrical synapse will be very effective. Which of the following is a primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system? Your answer for this question? We have 10 more minutes, so answer very quickly. Primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. Glutamate. Glutamate is the primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. And what is the main function of myelin sheath? What is the main function of the myelin sheath? To protect the neuron from damage, to increase the speed of a nerve impulse conduction, to produce neurotransmitter, to maintain the resting potential. Very good. That will be to increase the speed of the nerve impulse conduction. Good. Which part of the brain is primarily responsible for regulating heart rate and breathing? This question we have discussed in yesterday's class 2. Heart rate and breathing. Just think and answer for this question. Medulla oblongata. Very good. Now, what is the resting membrane potential of a typical neuron? Typical neuron. What is the resting membrane potential of a typical neuron? Minus 70 millivolt. Okay, and see, the membrane potential is maintained by the sodium potassium pump, right? Majorly, and ion channels. During which phase of the action potential do sodium channels open and sodium ions rush into the neuron? During which phase of an action potential do the sodium channels open and sodium ions rush into the neuron? That is depolarization. Voltage gated sodium channels open, and this allows the sodium ions to enter into the neuron, and this is the one makes the membrane potential more positive. Okay, this is an exact definition for the depolarization. Okay, you should not confuse with depolarization and repolarization, right? Which glial cells are responsible for producing myelin in the central nervous system? That will be oligodendrocytes is the one produce the myelin in the central nervous system, insulating the axons to increase the speed of electrical transmission, right? What is the function of blood brain barrier? What is the function of blood brain barrier? To allow all substances to pass freely into brain, to protect the brain from harmful substances and pathogens, to facilitate neurotransmitter release, to produce CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid. Blood-brain barrier to protect the brain from harmful substance and pathogen. Which part of neuron receive incoming signals from other neurons? Here, soma is nothing but a cell body, okay? That will be dendrites. Okay, so this is a branched extension. This is the one receive the signals from one neurons to the and convey this information to the cell body. And which neurotransmitter is regulating the mood, appetite, and sleep? That will be serotonin. What is the primary role of cerebellum? Regulating emotions, controlling voluntary movements and balance, processing sensory information, producing speech. Primary role of cerebellum. That will be controlling voluntary movements and balance, right? Now, which part of neuron is responsible for transmitting signals away from the cell body? That will be, we have 5 more minutes. Just answer quickly. We'll solve axon. Okay. This is the one transmits the electric signal away from the cell body. Which type of receptor is directly involved in fast synaptic transmission? Fast synaptic transmission. Just think correctly and answer this question. That will be inotropic receptor. This is the one produce fast synaptic response when activated by the neurotransmitter. Which brain structure is a part of a limbic system and crucial for forming a new memories? Forming new memories. Hippocampus, amygdala, thalamus, basal ganglia. That will be hippocampus. Okay, it is the one essential for forming and organizing new memories, particularly declarative memories. Which of the following is not a function of glial cells? Not a function of glial cells. Supporting neurons, producing myelin, conducting electrical impulse, maintaining homeostasis. Conducting electrical see, generally this glial cells support the neurons, produce myelin and maintain homeostasis, but they do not conduct electrical impulses, right? What role does the hypothalamus play in the body? Processing visual information, regulating autonomic functions and hormone release, coordinating voluntary movements, generating speech. That will be regulating autonomic functions and hormone, because we know that hypothalamus is the one involved in releasing many hormones. Okay. Which of the following is a characteristics of inhibitory postsynaptic potential? We have 3 more minutes. Quick. Inhibitory postsynaptic potential, IPSP. Depolarization of postsynaptic membrane, hyperpolarization of postsynaptic membrane, opening of sodium channels, increasing in likelihood of an action potential. Does it increase in likelihood of an action potential? You can answer the question by eliminating the option. It is hypolarizes the postsynaptic membrane. Okay, and it makes the membrane negative, more negative. Which neurotransmitter is primarily involved in fight or flight response? 2 more minutes. That will be norepinephrine. And what is the main function of Schwann cells? What is the main function of Schwann cells? Producing myelin in the peripheral nervous system. Okay, this is what a function performed by the Schwann cells. And which ion is primarily responsible for depolarization phase of the action potential? Depolarization. That will be sodium. Okay. Which part of the brain is involved in speech production? We have 1 more minute. Broca's area, okay, which is present in the frontal lobe. This is the one involved in the speech and production of language processing. See, for tomorrow, you have to read and come the muscular system, okay, regarding muscle. This is what a homework for you for tomorrow. Okay, if you have any doubts, see, I'll upload this PPT in the group, or we can solve the same question in the tomorrow's class. Okay, no, not a problem. For tomorrow, this is your homework to read and come the muscular system. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or else we can wind up the class. If you have those people who have doubts, you can stay. Remaining, you can leave the class.